Before the flag was raised, before the drums of Uhuru shook the African sky, there was a village, a quiet village harboring a secret darker than the woods of war. This is the story of love, betrayal, sacrifice, and the price that people pay to call themselves free. Gather close and listen, my friends, for what I tell you now is not merely a tale but a memory, an echo from the days when Kenyan soul drank blood and hope in equal measure, when the wind whispered of freedom and the forest hid warriors whose names were spoken with trembling pride. This story unfolds in the days approaching Uhuru, Kenya long awaited independence, in a humble village near the Bay. But freedom, as you shall see, is never a straight road. For even as the nation prepared to celebrate, one village was tangled in silence, guilt, and the truth that threatened to shatter everything. And at the heart of it all stood one man, Mugo, quiet, withdrawn, lonely as a tree standing apart from the forests, nursing his own wounds. For in this story, every heart hides a wound, and everyone has a history. Let us begin. In the days before Uhuru, the Bai village is tense with anticipation. The people prepare to honor her hero, namely Kihika, the fearless fighter of the movement who once struck terror into the colonial government and inspired many to rise. Kihika was the spark, the voice, the warrior whose name refused to die. But he was captured and executed. Now, on the eve of independence, the villagers plan a grand celebration in his memory. Yet behind the songs of freedom lies a question, whispered from year to year. The question is, who really betrayed Kihika? Because betrayal did not come from white strangers. No, Kihika was sold by one of their own. Mugo, the quiet man, is drawn unwillingly into the center of these preparations. The villagers, in their innocence, admire him. They believe he is the hero too. A man who once defied the colonial regime by refusing to bow, refusing to speak, by refusing to break. To them, he is a symbol, a savior, a man of courage. Meanwhile, the lives of the Bai people weave in and out of this storm of memory. There is Gikonyo, the master carpenter, once a proud man filled with ambition and dreams. When the emergency came, he was taken to detention camps for refusing to give in. He longed for his wife Mumbi every single day, imagining the moment he would return, imagining her waiting. But when he finally came home, thin and scarred by hardship, he found a child in her arms, a child which was not his. Mumbi, beautiful and strong, had been pressured and manipulated by Karanja, a man the village despised for siding with the colonial authorities. While the men suffered in the forest and prisons, Karanja rose in favor with the settlers, becoming assistant to the district officer and gaining power by serving the oppressor while hurting his own. Gikonyo's heart hardened. Husband and wife, once bound in love, became strangers sharing the same shadow. Their broken marriage stand as a symbol of how war does not only wound the flesh, but also the spirit. And still, the villagers' eyes turned to Mugo, believing him to be the one pure soul among them. They beg him to speak on the day of Uhuru, to stand before the people and honor Kihika. As Uhuru draws near, memories shock the village. Old betrayals rise from the grave. Gikonyo tries to rebuild his life, even winning a carpentry competition and beginning to prosper. Yet inside him is emptiness, for he cannot forgive Mumbi, and he cannot forgive himself for failing her. Mumbi, on the other hand, carries grace and sorrow. She speaks to Mugo, hoping to heal her marriage. Through her, we see the quiet triumph of Kenyan womanhood bearing the unspoken burdens of war. Then on the eve of Uhuru, the truth demands to be spoken. The villagers want vigilance. Karanja fears exposure, and Mugo can no longer breathe beneath the weight of his life. At last, the day arrives. The drums beat. The people gather. The new flag waits to rise, and Mugo steps forward, not as a hero, but as a man ready for judgment. In a trembling voice inside him, a storm rages. For Mugo has never tasted peace. He was an orphan, lonely and craving dignity. When Kihika visited him once to hide from the authorities, Mugo feared being swept into the struggle he did not understand. All he wanted was a quiet life. So when the colonial officers offered him reward for information, fear and weakness guided his tongue. With his betrayal, Kihika was captured. The hero died, and Mugo's soul was chained. He confessed before all. He, Mugo, was the traitor. He, Mugo, betrayed Kihika. Silence grips the air. The crowd stares, stunned. The imagined hero is the true villain. But in that confession lies a strange freedom, not only for Mugo, but for the village itself. For truth, once spoken, breaks curses. Mugo is taken away. His fate is sealed, but his confession stops a cycle of revenge that might have devoured them all. And as night gives way to dawn, Kenya steps into Uhuru, walking forward with both scars and hope. So now, my friends, you know the tale of the Bai, a tale that whispers a hard truth, that freedom is not born only from the brave warriors, but also from painful honesty. The nations are built not by perfect men, but by wounded ones who dare to face themselves. A grain of wheat reminds us that betrayal lives beside loyalty, that love can survive even after being broken, and that every victory carries a price. Kenya became free, but freedom, like a seed of wheat, must be planted, nurtured, and guarded. For only through sacrifice can a harvest come. Thank you for listening to this retelling of Ngugi wa Thiong'o, A Grain of Wheat. If it is it's a tale of sacrifice, betrayal, and the price of freedom. Thank you for listening to this retelling of Ngugi wa Thiong'o's A Grain of Wheat. If it's a tale of sacrifice, betrayal, and the price of freedom stirred something in you, stay with us for more. Like, share, and subscribe to Stop Reads Reviews for unforgettable literary journeys that linger long after the final page. Until the next story, keep thinking, keep feeling, and keep imagining. This is Top Reads Review, where every story lives on. See you soon. Bye-bye.